May I request Srimati Shobha Menon to honor Smt.Jaya. Thank you, ma'am. Before progressing further, we would like to update Smt.Jaya and everyone briefly about HEEP and its activities. Hiranandani Estate Ayyappa Puja, or HEEP as it is called, have been conducting Mandala Puja for the last 23 years. It started on a very humble note with just around 200 staunch devotees of Lord Ayyappa. Now, due to the untiring and selfless efforts of the managing committee and well-wishers, we get a large attendance. On the concluding day, we offer Annadhanam, the sacred tradition of serving food, as Mahaprasadam of Lord Ayyappa. It is offered to everyone, including the laborers and other needy people, without any discrimination, and it is attended by approximately 6,000 to 7,000 people. 6,000 to 7,000 people, I beg your pardon. In the 18th year, an 8 days celebration was organized with pomp and splendor. 18 is an important milestone for Ayyappa devotees, as in the Sabarimala temple in Kerala, the Padinattam Padi are the 18 divine steps to the Tirumutham, or the sanctum of the temple. During the pandemic, HEEP organized the following: 3 vaccination drives to a total of 219 underprivileged, like the maids, security guards, etc. Supplied 300 PPE kits to the TFC health workers. Ration supply to our nearby underprivileged families. Supported an underprivileged family for their daughter's marriage by meeting the whole expenses. Donated rupees 1 lakh to a poor family for treatment of their soul bread dinner. When the lockdown was announced in 2020, and as we watched the whole world grapple with fear and uncertainty, HEEP came forward with the noble concept of conducting puja and satsang virtually, ensuring that we stay connected with one another as we prayed collectively for the universal well-being and peace of mind. HEEP conducted the weekly virtual Vishwa Shanti Satsang over the last 2 years, streaming live on Zoom every Saturday under the guidance of Sri Rajesh Iyer. Various spiritual gurus. Yes, please. Please put your hands. And that's a wonderful service. Thank you. Various spiritual gurus, including the very popular and internationally acclaimed Sri N and Sri Uday Chaitanya ji, have blessed us by attending our weekly satsang. I won't take much of your time. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite you, R.K. Venu, to introduce our chief guest for today. Thank you.
I have been given the privilege of introducing Smt.Jaya to this august audience. Smt.Jaya is known as the creator and initiator and the managing trustee at Vedanta Vision. She is a powerful speaker on Vedanta, which most of you would have heard, or at least listened to. Some describe Vedanta as the oldest management school in the world. When I spoke to her, she mentioned that she was exposed to this by her grandparents, who she accompanied to satsangs by Swami Chinmayananda as well as Swami Ramanathananda of the Ramakrishna Mission. Professionally, she is a microbiologist and then she worked for some years as an executive in a pharma company. During that tenure, she had the privilege of applying some of the lessons that she learned from the Vedanta as management techniques to be applied in her work. Later, she decided to do full-time activity, full-time dissemination of information. She used the various management skills picked up from scriptures. She has gained international recognition, having spoken at various prestigious forums, such as, it's a long list that I have to say, the World Economic Forum at Davos, the World Bank, Princeton and other universities, and world corporate headquarters of companies such as Google and Intel at California, Deutsche Bank at New York, the Shell in London, and many more. In India also, the list is pretty long, but I'll name a few only. The Tata Group, SCSC, Asian Paints, and so on and so forth. In fact, I recall that an old man that I met her for 20 years back when she had come to train us or give a PRABHASHANAM at my company, HPCL at Pune. She is a regular contributor to the Speaking Tree column in the Times of India. Most of you would have read her column at some point of time. She has also authored several books such as The Good Karma, Making the Right Choices for Tomorrow, Profile of a Perfect Person, Beyond Harvard. Later, you can join the webinars of the Bhagavad Gita on the YouTube at vedantavision.org. There is a counter outside where her books would be available, charity programs. So anyone wishing to contribute to the charity programs can also contribute at the counter. Thank you. I now wish call Shama to take over. Thank you.
I'm not coming to give another speech. I know you're all waiting to listen to her. But a small announcement. Before we start, we would like to inform that after the discourse, we will permit 3 questions from the audience pertaining to the lecture to be addressed by Jayaji. So if you have a question, kindly write it in a chat and hand it over to our volunteers. But please do not stop listening to the discourse and start writing. Keep it in your mind. Maybe we'll give you 2-3 minutes after the discourse to put it down. If you have it ready beforehand, give it to our volunteers. We are sorry that due to paucity of time, we will stick only to 3 questions. Thank you, and the stage is over to Jaya.
Thank you. Can you hear me now? Better? The topic for this evening is Yoga Karmasu Kaushali's dexterity of action, perfection in action, performing actions well, completely, wholly. This we have heard of. The Americans are masters at it. Whatever they work, they do perfectly, on time, on the dot, never falter. But in the Bhagavad Gita, there is an addition to this, and that addition is very important, which is Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Equanimity of mind is yoga. So first of all, what is yoga? Yoga is not standing on your head when you have 2 feet to stand up. Yoga is not just doing asanas and pranayama. Yoga comes from the root word yuja in Sanskrit, which means to join. Yoga, Karmasu Kaushala means it is the pathway by which you reunite. Can we have silence, please? This subject is very subtle and difficult to comprehend. But if there is noise and disturbance, it is impossible. So, please, just for a few minutes, maintain silence. And keep your phone silent also. You know, in the past, when the rishis did homam and yajna, there is a saying in their stories that Rakshasas used to come and disturb them. Modern day Rakshasas are cell phones. So please keep them at bay. Now, coming back. Yoga, the pathway by which you reunite to your own self, is through action and through samatva, quietude, calmness of mind. Both should go together. We find that either we have one or the other. On a Sunday morning, tomorrow is Sunday, right? Tomorrow morning, you don't have to go to work, so the mind is calm. But the moment Monday morning comes, you are all geared up for action. What happens to the mind? Agitated, disturbed. So either your mind is calm and you are inactive, or you are active but the mind is agitated. It is when the two come together that magic happens. Even in sport, Billie Jean King, when she was playing at the Wimbledon, once said, "It's not about the trophy, it's not about the prize money, it's about," she called it, "the pure action." And she defined pure action as intense activity. You know, in tennis, every moment you are moving in the midst of a calm mind. So, in fact, only when the mind is calm can you perform perfect action. If the mind is disturbed, you may have all the knowledge in the world, you may be the most talented person, you may have all the skills, but you have no access to the knowledge. Access denied flashes on your screen, mental screen. So you find that, for instance, I don't know how many of you have seen that movie Smt.Jaya. It's a Telugu movie. It's about this great classical musician. His daughter goes to the temple and meets this boy, and they fall in love. And in the evening, they don't know. It so happens that the same boy is coming to see her as a prospective bride. And as you all know, for some strange reason in the south, the girl had to sing to get a good boy. I don't know what happened to people who could not sing. But anyway, so she was told to sing. But her mind was agitated because she couldn't believe that it is the same boy that she fell in love with in the morning at the temple. So she sang one note off. And her father went into a rage. Now, why did she sing off key? Not because she did not know, because the mind was agitated. You might be a great cook, but when you invite, let's say, your husband's boss to dinner, and you want to impress him with your cooking skills, what happens? Something goes wrong. One dish you add extra salt, the other one gets burnt, third one gets something else. The whole meal is a disaster, not because you don't know how to cook, but because mind is agitated. I can go on and on. So it is very important that the mind be calm. When the mind is calm, the thinking is sharp, intellect is sharp, clear, action brilliant. When a student is doing an exam, she may know all the answers, but when the mind is, the student, the most important thing that a student needs when she goes to the exam is the mind must be calm. Then she is able to read the question paper properly, she knows the answer, she tops the paper. So now the question is, how do you get that mind calm? What disturbs the mind? What do you think disturbs the mind?
Tension,
Tension, yes. Why do you get tense?
so that we do our best, but we should not fail.
Yes. So, desire. Right? What disturbs the mind is desire. Desire comes from thought of self, selfishness. There is a wonderful movie called when I keep talking about movies, don't get the wrong idea, don't think I do nothing but watch movies. There's a lovely movie called The Legend of BHAGAVAD. It's not an Indian movie, it's not a Bollywood movie. It is a Hollywood, mainstream Hollywood movie made by Robert Redford. The Legend of BHAGAVAD. It's about a golfer in the 1930s. He was brilliant at golf, but because of some personal problem, he quit golf and started drinking. Easiest way out. Then the competition was announced, golf competition. These people, he came from the south of America, went to him and said, you must play because you are our only hope. We have no other golfer. He agrees to play, but he's been drinking so much he can barely see the ball. One night when he's practicing his shots, Will Smith, a black man, comes out of the darkness and offers to be his caddy. You know caddy? Caddy is the guy who just carries the golf clubs around. His name is Bhagavan. Does it ring a bell? Bhagavan. He is the guru. And the golfer's name is Ranulph Jr. He's called Arjuna for short. No prizes for guessing. Arjuna. I'm not imagining it. Robert Redford says the movie is based on a book called GEETA on the Green. So, the whole he is playing so badly that at one hole he goes and asks the caddy, which club do I play with? He says, Kenny, you're playing so badly, it doesn't make a difference. But he calls him back and says something that I want you to remember. And that is, there's a perfect shot waiting out there. All you got to do is get yourself out of the way. When I heard that, a thrill went down my spine, because that is exactly what the Bhagavad Gita says. There is perfection in each one of us. You don't need to go out and search for it. You don't need to go to Harvard to do an MBA. You don't need to do IIM. You simply tap into the perfection within. How? Get yourself out of the way. What a brilliant statement. Thought of self. The moment you think of yourself, you become weak, you become inefficient, you become a failure. And we are full of thought of self. Whole life we are thinking only of I, me, myself. That's it. How can you achieve greatness with such small, petty, stupid thinking? Stop thinking of yourself. How not to think of yourself? Think of something higher. Get inspired by something higher. Right? This little one is inspired. What is this inspiration? See, when you're thinking only of yourself, ask anybody, what are you working for? Paycheck, salary, I have to pay my bills, profit, that's all you think of. Then naturally life is boring. How do you go to work? With a long face. But when you're inspired, like a man in Boston, when their son was born, the doctors told that he's horribly handicapped. It would have been better had he died. But the parents refused to believe this, and later understood that the body was only deformed. His mind was all there. So they sent him to a normal school. But he couldn't do so much. He could only move one finger. They gave him a laptop with which to communicate because he couldn't speak. One day, he typed a sentence on that laptop which changed the father's life. That sentence was, "I wish I could run," because he couldn't even walk, he couldn't stand. That father, who did not like running, who was not athletic, who had never run in his life, now started running with a boy on his back to give the boy the experience of running, what it felt like to run. He did not just run, he won races. The father, with the boy on his back, he won races. He won the Boston Marathon, he won triathlons, he achieved the impossible. How? Powerful emotional motivation. Do you have that powerful emotional motivation? Do you love someone with all your heart that you can do anything for that person? We all like blocks of wood, like Shakespeare said. You're not wood, you're not stone, you're men, and being men, surely you can be inspired by something. Men means men and women. Then, intellectual ideal. Anyone who is inspired with an intellectual ideal, I just came to know a very inspiring story told to me by a woman. Unilever had a plant in America which made thermometers, mercury thermometers. But because it was environmentally hazardous, mercury is poison, they forced Unilever to stop that plant. So what did Unilever do? Transported the plant to India, near Kodaikanal, in an ecologically sensitive Western Ghat region which had been classified as heritage and did not follow any safety norms. They didn't care for the safety of their workers nor for the environment and polluted the environment, poisoned their workers and their families. 100 kgs of poisonous mercury was just strewn around. That one lady I met, she started a movement and they filed a suit against Unilever, the poor people of Kodaikanal. And then there's one lady who said, I don't have money, but I can contribute with a song. You go to YouTube, Kodaikanal, what is the Won't. That's the name of the song, Kodaikanal Won't. It's a rap song. It's not a particularly nice song, but it will make your hair stand on end. That song went viral in 3 days. Lakhs of people saw it. New York Times, the Chicago paper, Washington Post, London Times, everyone picked it up. The chairman of Unilever had to give an apology. Why am I telling you this story? When you have an intellectual ideal, you don't need money, you don't need clout. They fought against Unilever and won. Because of that one song, Unilever settled and paid compensation. Of course, you can never repay a broken, a dead worker. You can't repay a child that is born deformed because of your indifference. But at least they tried, they gave something. So this is it. Do you have an intellectual ideal? If you have it, this is what you will achieve. Make that one big step forward. If you are inspired with a spiritual goal, the highest spiritual practice is meditation, which requires extreme discipline. If you can't discipline, you go to any church, any mosque, any masjid, anywhere in the world, not a single phone will do it. Why is it that only in our societies, our religion, I'm not asking you to have respect for me, have respect for God, have respect for yourself. Nothing will happen if for a few minutes your phone is off or silent. It's not about me, I can go on, and I am going to go on, irrespective of any phone ringing. So, when you are inspired with the spiritual ideals, the forces of nature bow down to you. Prahlada, the son of the demon king Hiranyakashipu, his own father plotted to kill him. What happened? Fire became ineffective when it was used against that little boy. The boy made no effort to protect himself. He only said, I am devotee of God, that's it. Elephants trampled, nothing happened to him. And you know the story better than me. But this is not just a story. This is something that you and I can apply in our lives here, now, today. If you want it. You must want it. So tap into that spirit within. That is the eventual, ultimate leveler. Not everyone is born rich, not everyone is born with a high IQ, not everyone is born talented like Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli. But all of us have spirit, Atman, in equal measure. Identify with that and you perform miracles. So, that is the ultimate silence, peace. Second chapter of the Gita says, such a person will attain peace. And out of that intense peace comes perfection. Whatever you do will be perfect.